Hello everybody, today I would like to talk to you about writing. So what makes a good writing? What are the things that we need to be paying attention when writing? So first of all, the title matters. Make sure that the title captures the essence of your paper, whether it is your dissertation or a term paper, whatever it is. It is not too broad or it's not too specific. So for instance, just giving a title to your paper as poverty and development doesn't really say much about what you are really going to talk about. What kind of development are you talking about? Cognitive development, socio-emotional development, moral development? What? It's not clear. You could say something more specific, but not too specific, such as like the effects of poverty on kindergarteners' socio-emotional development. Now, this title is a better title because now you know who the population or the sample that you are addressing, what kind of development you are talking about. So make sure it captures your whatever you are trying to cover. And also, if your paper is about a particular group, make sure it is reflected in the title. Let's say in your paper you talk about children with special needs, that's the main focus of your paper, then the title must have that. So people, when they just look at the title, will know that the group that you studied or you are talking about is children with special needs or whatever the group you are particularly focusing on. And choose your words carefully and be precise. Rather than choosing more ambiguous words, choose less ambiguous words. Why am I using more ambiguous, less ambiguous? Because pretty much all words are ambiguous. The level of ambiguity differs, but unless you are talking about a very technical word, they have multiple meanings, so you got to be careful. So therefore, like, avoid words like thing, things, something. Example, the students need to do something so they won't be bored in class. Instead of saying that, you can say the students need an activity to stay focused. Now the second sentence is more precise and less ambiguous. Pay attention to your grammar. If English is your first language, especially that means you have the capability of looking at your grammar and detecting your grammar issues. But you may not be able to do it in your first writing, so you give yourself some time, go back and correct your grammar. And if you're not particularly good at grammar, then have someone else do it for you. A friend, a colleague, your mother, your father, someone who can look at it and then fix your grammar. Because sometimes the ideas are good, but if they are expressed in poor grammar, it loses its effectiveness. When I see in the formal papers, like phrases like won't, shouldn't, doesn't, it just makes your paper less formal. So just avoid contractions. One very important thing is make sure that you are answering the question that you are trying to answer. Whether it's a dissertation, are you really answering your research questions, or you are just beating around the bush? So the question of am I answering the question just should linger in your mind as you are writing, so you won't lose focus. Adjust the strength of your claim. Don't make too weak claims or too strong claims. Too weak claims doesn't really convince the reader or gives a very bad impression that you might give the feeling like you don't know what you're talking about. Or too strong claims are bad as well. Like I see a lot of students using the word prove in social sciences, and it's not a good practice. Like in social sciences, we don't really prove anything. What we do, oftentimes, we just test our hypothesis. Just because we have evidence to support our hypothesis, it doesn't mean that we proved what our claims are. No. Proving is a very precise science. And because social issues are way too complex, it's really hard to use the word prove in social sciences. Maybe it's not, I'm not saying it's impossible, but it's very, very hard. So instead of saying prove, this proves this, just say this study provides evidence for blah, blah, blah. Instead of saying this study proves blah, blah, blah. That's not good practice at all. So avoid lengthy sentences. The longer the sentences, more confusing they are and less precise they are. So if you have a complex idea to express, just break that idea and come up with multiple sentences rather than one big sentence that's like a paragraph long. It's a bad practice. If it is a paragraph long sentence, I can guarantee that it is confusing. Avoid too many direct quotations. Using too many direct quotations in papers, whether it is a dissertation, a paper, it doesn't matter what it is. But there are some exceptions, like if you are quoting the laws or the regulations, etc., you might use direct quotations more than in other cases. But other than that, just rephrase, because if you just directly quote people's work and it's what you're doing is simply copying and pasting, and you can't call your work your work. And in academia, using many direct quotation is labeled as intellectual laziness. So if you don't want to be labeled like that, avoid direct quotations as much as you can. A couple of them should be fine, and make sure they're not lengthy. Maybe one lengthy one, if you have to do it, then it will be fine, but just be very careful with direct quotation. Another thing to pay attention is to use primary sources. Primary sources rock. Why? Because you tell the reader that I got to the bottom of the matter. I read what I was supposed to read, rather than just simply reporting what other people said about this main person or this main subject. Just go to the bottom of the issue. Let's say you are writing about cognitive development and you will be mentioning Piaget. So why not go to the library or go to their website and find the actual books, articles written by Piaget himself? That will be actually a very good message you will be sending to the reader. Read and study good writing samples. Find the top journals in your field and read them. And read them more than once and study how are they expressing these ideas. Get some ideas. Doesn't mean that you should just copy their writing style, no. But when you expose yourself to these good writings, you will soak up some of the styles and then you will come up with some really good writing. And edit. First editions, when you write a paper or whatever you're writing, the first version is not going to be good. Just keep editing. Give yourself some time. To edit, you must give yourself time to edit. If you wait for the last minute to write your paper, that means you won't have time for editing. Sometimes this time will be a couple hours, or you might wait a week or two, sometimes a month might be necessary for you to go back and do a really good editing job. So remember, writing is a process, and you are more likely to get better as you write, more with thoughtful thinking and meticulous editing. So thoughtful thinking and meticulous editing. Thank you for listening, and please let me know what you think about this video in the comment section below. And don't forget to subscribe. Thank you.